School's out at York High School, but for one group of kids there's one more crucial lesson. We're giving the teens access all areas and taking them on a field trip for a unique biology lesson they just can't get in school. They're going to learn about the modern miracle of conception and witness the creation of life when sperm meets egg, because you're never too young to be involved in all aspects of sex education. They're visiting the Assisted Conception Unit, which helps those who can't conceive naturally to have children.
I think people need to have fertility treatment if they really, really want to have a baby and it's really difficult for them.
A man might want to get his sperm frozen if he's worried that he might become infertile in the future.
In Britain, about 1 in 6 couples have problems with fertility, and often that's down to one small culprit. Yes, I'm talking about sperm. There can be any number of reasons why a person might need to come to one of these clinics for help.
So we've got Rachel, who's the principal embryologist here, who's very kindly agreed to show us around and talk us through the whole process from beginning to end.
This is where we freeze sperm samples and we store them long-term for patients. This is liquid nitrogen here, so it stores the samples at minus 190 degrees C. And what we would do is we would store sperm on straws in containers like this.
How many samples would that container have in it?
Absolutely thousands. At the moment we've got about 500 samples in there, but that's taking up a tiny little space in there, so we've got quite a large storage facility there.
There can be any number of reasons why a person might need to come to one of these clinics for help.
Teenagers or young adults that have been diagnosed with cancer would store sperm before they start their chemotherapy and radiotherapy, because that process would make them infertile. We do it for treatment if somebody wants just to have more treatment and can't produce sperm samples, or people working in the armed forces who are away, or if men want to have a vasectomy and prevent having their further child naturally, but they've got that as backup in the future if they ever change their mind.
And when the time comes, Rachel and her team will use the sperm to try and fertilise an egg through a process known as IVF, which consists of 5 steps before the embryo can be inserted into the uterus and hopefully make a baby. Step 1. The motility, which is the ability to move spontaneously and actively, has to be checked and counted. Using a pipette, a sample of sperm is placed on a slide and then put under a microscope to be counted.
So what we're going to do now is count the sperm. So you're going to use this one for the ones that are swimming, this one's for the ones that are twitching, and this for the ones that are still and not moving.
So she's separating ones which are very mobile, which are normal healthy ones, from ones which are a bit static and just twitching their tails and trying to get going, and then obviously other ones which are just not moving at all.
There can be many ways in which sperm can be substandard. They can be slow or deformed, and in some cases they can have 2 heads or no tail.
Did you know that you could get sperm without any tails? Or...
No, I just thought that all sperms had tails, so it's quite a surprise to know that they didn't.
Step 2. The good sperm has to be separated from the bad sperm before step 3, which is to single one out and catch it to insert into the egg, which is one of the methods of fertilisation.
The process involves catching a sperm and breaking its tail to start with, because we can't inject a motile sperm into the egg.
And that's because naturally, if a sperm fertilises an egg, the tail would automatically come off. Is that right?
It would. It loses its motility as it passes through into the egg. So then what we do is we have to find the egg, and we have to hold the egg very steadily in position, because we're going to put that needle right into the centre of the egg.
Step 4. The very creation of life. Sperm and egg come together. This very special piece of film has been provided by the clinic so that we can see exactly what happens.
You can see the sperm there in the bottom of the pipette. The sperm's tiny compared to the egg, isn't it? And then gently put the injection pipette in, suck the cytoplasm up, and then you can see the sperm being deposited in the centre of the egg. And this is when we know an egg's fertilised. Can you see those 2 circular structures in the centre? They're called the pronuclei.
And they would keep multiplying?
Yes, they do. So later on day 2, we'd expect them to develop to 4 cells. On day 3, we'd expect them to be between 6 and 8 cells. And then when they're 5 days old, they form something quite different. You can't see those individual cells anymore, and this is called a blastocyst.
The healthy sperm has now fertilised the egg, which develops over 5 days, when it's then ready to be placed in the uterus. A catheter is used to insert this embryo. Then it's up to nature.
How successful is IVF?
Of those people that come in, we'd expect about 40% of those to be able to take home a baby at the end of their treatment.
So IVF is successful for lots of couples. But if you want to help your chances of conception, there are ways of ensuring that you have healthy sperm. Because you're never too young to look after your little swimmers.
The most important thing is a healthy diet. Lots of fruits and fresh vegetables, especially the superfruits like blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, things like that. Especially not smoking, that's so important, and also alcohol. They can affect how well the sperm moves. There's certain vitamins, such as zinc, that's very good for sperm quality, but mainly, generally, it's living a healthy lifestyle.
Although you've seen all this equipment, all it's very technical, it's actually a very natural process, and it's just that Mother Nature sometimes needs an extra hand.
But what have the York teens learned from this extraordinary sex ed lesson?
I was surprised when I found out that young teens freeze a sperm when they get diagnosed with cancer.
I did realise that bad diet and smoking and drinking affected your sperm, but I didn't realise it was so much.
It makes you think that you should start living a better lifestyle, eating healthier and all that sort of stuff.